Hi, my name is Eric Bruning, and I will be presenting today over the most notorious computer hackers of all time. So, first, I want to go over the outline, and the first thing we're going to be talking about is the history of hacking, and then we're going to go into good versus bad hacking techniques and what makes a good hacker, and a bad hacker. Then we will be going into the famous hackers and what they did to become famous and what they are doing now, and then the conclusion of the presentation. So, the history of hacking. Before the internet was invented, there was a different term for being a hacker. In the 1960s, MIT made the term hacker mean someone who is hacking away or working diligently at trying to improve the early operations of the computer. In 1981, Ian Murphy was the first hacker to be convicted of a crime, of a cybercrime, and he hacked into AT&T's system and changed their internal clocks, which allowed people to use the late night discount early in the day, and others that were trying to use the discount at the right time would pay the regular amount. He was convicted of 1,000 hours of community service and 2.5 years of probation. This is a soft conviction compared to what we see today. In 1984, the first hacking magazine, 2600 Magazine, was launched, and a couple years later, the Hacker's Manifesto was the first hacking book published. This marked the beginning of the hacking community, sparking many people's interest in hacking and seeing what can be done with these set of tools. Right before the internet was invented in 1991, seeing what the hackers could potentially do, the United States and Great Britain both formed laws against gaining unauthorized access to computers. Alright, so good versus bad hacking. Hacking is the attempt to gain unauthorized access to a computer system for either good or bad use. There's a constant battle between the good ones and the bad ones, but both good and bad use a lot of the same techniques. Hackers like to look for vulnerabilities in the system. The difference between the good and the bad ones is the good ones have permission to do so and are trying to find vulnerabilities so they can fix them. The good hackers are usually behind because if they don't find the vulnerability in the system, the bad hackers will act on it. There are three types of hackers: black hat, white hat, and gray hat hackers. A black hat hacker is someone who uses their hacking skills for personal or financial gain. They mostly aim for stealing, modifying, or deleting data. An example of a black hat hacker is someone who finds a vulnerability in a computer system and either maliciously acts on it or tries to sell it online to the highest bidder. A white hat hacker is someone who uses their hacking knowledge to find vulnerabilities in the system and fix them. These hackers are mostly either employees or contractors that have been given permission by the owner or company to perform such tasks. A gray hacker is someone that fits in between a black and a white hacker. These hackers have permission to find holes in the system, but sometimes instead of fixing the problem, he or she may hold the vulnerability for hostage until the owner either pay him or he will release it to the highest bidder. Alright, since we know some information about hacking and what makes a good hacker and a bad hacker, now we'll go into the first famous hacker that I'll be talking about, which is Kevin Mitnick. The life of Kevin Mitnick has been a roller coaster to say the least. Kevin Mitnick is widely known as the world's first famous hacker and was named El Condor. He's the biggest figure in American hacking today because he was the first hacker that made it onto the FBI's most wanted list. Mitnick began his hacking career at an early age as a black hat hacker. He used social engineering as his main form of attacking to gain unauthorized access to computer systems. Social engineering is luring users into releasing confidential information that can be used for fraudulent purposes. Some examples of this is using phishing emails or malware links that can be clicked by a user that has no idea the email or link is not what it looks like. He said he never exploited any of these attacks, but just wanted to see if it could be done. Mitnick has a long list of criminal activities, but I'll just describe a few. In 1981, Mitnick started his criminal acts by breaking into a phone company and stealing data and software that amounted to around $170,000. A year later, he successfully hacked into the North American Defense Command. He wasn't on the FBI's map until around 1989 when he hacked into the Digital Equipment Corporation and copied their software. DEC was a big company at that point in time, so the FBI was now on the trail. In 1995, Mitnick was finally arrested by the FBI on counts of computer and wire fraud. He pleaded guilty in 1999 to 4 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of computer fraud. He served a 5-year sentence. Mitnick was not able to use a computer device until 2002 when an FC judge ruled that Mitnick was able to possess a computer device and access the internet. After his sentencing, Mitnick has transformed into a white hat hacker. Mitnick is currently the CEO of Mitnick Security Consulting and CHO of KnowBe4. These companies both strive to provide resources and training programs that try to inform people about past, present, and future hacking techniques. He's also a world renowned speaker at big technology conventions and shows, and has published many books and actually has had a movie made about his life. The next hacker that we will be talking about is Albert Gonzalez. This hacker that was known as Soup Nazi was a young black hat hacker that changed the way we look at credit card information. Gonzalez started hacking a hacking crew called Shadow Crew when he was just 15 years old. This group specialized in financial fraud, but also included fraudulent passports, health insurance cards, and birth certificates. He liked to use SQL injection as his main attacking technique. SQL injection is injecting code into the system to create backdoors and steal computer data from internal networks. By using SQL injection, he can steal any information he wants by going undetected. Through a 2 year span, Gonzalez and his group collected around 170 million credit card accounts. Some of the companies that were hit were Office Depot and Dave & Buster's. Gonzalez became a household name in 2005 when he attempted the first serial breach of credit card information from TJ Maxx. He stole an estimated 265 million from TJ Maxx alone with this attack. In 2010, he was caught and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Gonzalez showed businesses that they need to be more careful with sensitive information, especially credit card information. Jonathan James is the next hacker that I'll be talking about. This young hacker went by the name of Conrad and was one of the most talented hackers we have ever known. James is well known for being the first juvenile to be convicted of a cybercrime in the United States and first person ever to hack the United States Department of Defense at the age of 15. He was a hacking prodigy by being so good at hacking and being so young. Malware attacks was James's primary attacking strategy. Malware attacks are malicious software that is used to spread the malware bug to other computer devices, trying to infect the entire system and collect data from as many devices as possible. James started his criminal life in 1999 when successfully hacking into Bell South, now AT&T, and Miami-Dade School District. Next, he attempted to attack the U.S. Department of Defense. When he was eventually caught, he admitted to installing a backdoor into the department's server, which he used to collect 3,000 government messages and usernames and passwords from government employees. He also copied NASA software, which caused them to shut down for about 3 weeks. James had to serve 6 months of jail time after he violated his initial probation sentence, since he was a minor. After his sentence, he was accused of being involved in the TJ Maxx breach, previously the work of Albert Gonzalez that we just talked about, and was searched by the FBI. Believing that he would falsely be convicted of this crime, he committed suicide in 2008. James showed the technology world, especially national governments, what any hacker that puts his or her mind to can do, no matter how old you are. The last hacker that I will be talking about is Anonymous. Anonymous is the most well-known hacker of all time. However, it is actually not a hacker, and it is a group of hackers, or hacktivists. A hacktivist is someone who uses technology to promote an agenda or social change. The group started in a message forum on 4chan in 2003. There is no hierarchy in this group, and anyone can act as anonymous whether the group likes it or not. But the overall main goals of the group is to combat censorship, promote freedom of speech, and counter government control. Most people support this group because of their social justice activities. People that are a part of this group are distinguished in public by the Guy Fawkes mask from the movie V for Vendetta. Their main attack method is the denial of service or DDoS attacks. A DDoS attack is when multiple systems flood the bandwidth of the targeted system, making the system overwhelmed and compromised. This group has made many attacks against a number of countries, organizations, and companies like Sony, Facebook, India, Syria, and even the President of the United States. The first major attack that put Anonymous on the map was the attack on the Church of Scientology. In 2008, the group started on an operation called Operation Chinology, which was a planned attack on the church. They took down the Church of Scientology website and used Google bombing to create search results for the church to biased and negative results that made them look bad. The group acted because the church was trying to censor a controversial interview of Tom Cruise throughout the internet. Another big attack that made national headlines was the attack on Donald Trump's website. In 2015, Donald Trump was saying one controversial quote after another every day, and one thing he said was that he wants all Muslims to be banned from the United States. Many people did not take this well, including the Anonymous. The group took down the future president's website and sent him a video that told him to think twice before speaking about that again. Also, in 2015, Anonymous planned on an attack on ISIS. The group managed to take down many ISIS websites that spread ISIS propaganda and destroyed cloud-based recruitment files and drives. Many of these websites are still messed with by Anonymous today. All of Anonymous's attacks almost always have a reason behind the attack and try to make the technology and real world a better place. So, my conclusion on learning about hacking and the most notorious, famous hackers of all time is that hacking has been around for hundreds of years, but the definition has been tossed around a couple times. Hackers can be either good, bad, or both, and can either be hacking for the fun of it or to promote something that will change the world. Seeing what these hackers can do really is a wake up call to our technology world. Everything from big corporations, organizations, and governments have been successfully attacked, and it will not be the last time it happens either. We need to be more aware and ready for future attacks by finding the holes in the system before it gets in the wrong hands. Teaching people all the different attacks that these hackers have been using and will continue to use can help prevent major attacks from happening. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions or any concerns, you can email me down on my UCA Cub account. And thank you. Have a good day.